I just found out I'm getting kicked out of this apartment in 4 months. And instead of just looking for another boring apartment, I actually went for my dream. My name is Andy, I'm 31 years old, and I've always dreamed of van
Hey,
life.
Andy.
When I found this Sprinter van in Montana, I knew it was the one for me. I figured out a way to finance
Financed it.
bought a plane ticket, and flew from Utah to Montana to pick it up. Hey,
What a way to shove it right back to the man by financing more and getting more into debt to pay them back interest. Anyway, this is 31-year-old Andy who dreams of van life, and he has high hopes for any sense of freedom in the near future, and a big old middle finger to our beloved government, just like the rest of us. Now, I feel like a lot of us probably feel like little Andys, and today we're going to discuss that, and let's move on.
There isn't a way to work your way out of this system. It's never going to happen. I'm just going to rip the Band-Aid off. You're not going to work your way up
Come
to
on,
getting
man.
enough money to buy a house
Really?
when you're competing against hedge funds. You're not going to work your way up to having $100,000, $200,000 a year and have that be safe in an
I
economy
thought there was
where
still
inflation
hope.
is increasing
What happened to the American dream?
rapidly. We could have
Oh yeah, you have to be
incredible
dreaming.
deflation of assets. There's so much that can happen. You're not going to work your way out of this. As an individual, you need other people in your life. You need to join forces with other folks that
That's the thing. A lot of people are going to be shacking back up with their folks, and a lot of people are going to be bunkering down together. Probably 10 people per Sprinter van. That's what it sounds like.
think and feel the same way that you do. And that's why they're terrified right now, because they want to ban this app so that they can prevent us from doing that, because they don't control this app. Somebody else across the pond does. You are not going to work your way out of a corporate oligarchic warlord
But that's what I was taught my entire life. Have I been sold a scam?
We're watching it happen right in front of our eyes. Elon Musk is not an elected official. He's not an elected person, and he has an army of Teslas. We're watching it happen. It's right in front of our eyes. What you can do is use the technology before it is banned or restricted or licensed, and you can build your own ways of getting your own needs met. That's what I'm doing. I'm building a company called Johnny
Here's the
Autoseed so
pitch.
that I can build robot gardeners. Am
Good
I
for
trying
you,
to get
bro. I
rich
hope
off
you can
of
make it out.
Absolutely, because I will need to in order to not die in the corporate oligarchic warlord future that is happening right in front of our faces. And furthermore,
We're screwed,
I
folks.
also want to redistribute all of that to you and everybody else so that we have food. Food.
All right, so bro's gonna feed America and the world. I appreciate that. That's needed. But I do want to touch on how it's funny how every single person that hates capitalism always finds a way to somehow work or weave capitalism into their way of making it out and to screw the man. That's kind of what making a business is. And it's really also ironic how to build a business now. Who even thinks about LLCs? We're just thinking about making a social media account and gonna start buying ads and promo. Okay, so now we're gonna talk about a lot of how many people are feeling in this whole economy and how social media has kind of warped the whole perspective of what a community feels like, what like relationships even really are, and the modern day standard of friendship or relationships or that type of thing.
Living in the modern world because my body, my genetic being craves, longs for, yearns for connection and community, and it doesn't get that because this is our community right now. This little rectangle box, me sitting in my car alone speaking to my
It's like that one SpongeBob episode where SpongeBob and Patrick were in their box living the dream, and Squidward just couldn't see it. Like it's like we're being sold something that nobody can see because we're all outside the box. But the people that are in the box are like, what? Where are they?
self. That's my community, and that's fucked up. Every time I go to a concert, I cry. I'm not kidding. Every time I go to a concert, I cry because I look around and I see everybody
probably see a therapist
existing
or
in this one unifying experience, and everyone's happy and singing and dancing and enjoying something all together, and it's beautiful, and I cry every single time. I cry every time I hear choir music. I cry every time I see a video of the haka. I cried
All
about
right,
that.
he's just gonna go on about how he cries a lot, but hey, he's not alone. A lot of people these days are in the midst of a depressive episode because of our current living situation that everybody's facing. So now we're gonna continue.
How are we supposed to buy a house when my rent is going up another $195
You're
a
not
month?
supposed to. That's
It
how.
has gone up $720 in 4 years for the same place that I live in. $8,640 a year more for the same place I lived in 4
Why would
years.
they want us to own our own homes when they can just keep making apartments and then having us live off of them? Why would they want that? Also, with housing prices, a lot of people don't really seem to find this like the actual reality that if you don't have a home already, it's hard to get one. With these jobs saving up, it's really hard to get a down payment.
I'm sorry, property taxes are not going up that much that landlords are charging that much more. We have to stop blaming the economy, the government, the president. It is greedy people taking more profits in. When people tell you just move somewhere else, why would I move to another state that's cheaper? Why should I have to uproot my family, lose my career, just to afford to live somewhere? You're implying people who live in where I live now don't deserve a fair shot at cost of living.
That's the thing. I've seen a couple comments on a few of my past videos saying, why don't you just move to a cheaper city or state? And is it really that expensive? Is it really $2,000 a month for the cheapest apartments or in cities? It's really like that. It's really hard for some people. It's really hard for some people to believe that the world's not all the same and there's a different livelihood in different places. So, and also uprooting your entire life, all your relationships, everything you've ever known is not as easy as it sounds. I mean, it just isn't.
And places with cheaper rent pay lower salaries. That's how this whole thing works for the most part. And my girlfriend's a teacher. Like, if she moves to a state with a cheaper cost of living, she might not even have a pension or her benefits anymore. Instead of telling the middle class to keep, looking somewhere cheaper, why don't you all align together and get people out of control that are doing this to us? You are always closer to being homeless than you are to being rich. Everyone just assumes one day they're going to get rich. And that's why they don't stand up for people just like them in the struggle right now. If not for the raise I got 4 years ago, I would be totally screwed. I don't even want to hand out or help. I just want things to not be so crazy expensive every year. Go buy pizza from where I work. Go buy my merchandise. I don't know. Not a handout, just advertising.
External validation.
That's a crazy thing to think about. You are closer to being poor than you are to being rich. I think that really goes to I think that's really relatable to the average American right now, as well as a lot of people who are probably checking this out right now. Feel free to comment down below if that's your current situation. And also, it's also sort of a mentality, I guess. A lot of people would say that's what I've seen. It's what I've seen a few comments touch on, is that if you have the will, then you can find a way. But I think it's more so survival of the fittest right now at its finest in this current capitalism state. Now, I'm not against capitalism. Don't get me wrong. I mean, it is what it is. But I think there's definitely a positive and negative to everything, and I think we're definitely experiencing a lot of the negatives as of right now. So this guy's going to touch on relationships and how the dark side of modern society that we need to talk about. Kind of goes back to that guy earlier who says he has pretty much no connection now, and all the connection that he ever finds is through social media apps, which are slowly censoring and taking away. And so not only do they track you everywhere you go with your phone, now they want to control how you're able to use it. So it's just, you give them a little, they inch and take a lot. And then eventually it'll be forceful versus a negotiation, which is supposed to be a democracy here. But it seems like we get little votes every single time something happens.
It's cruel because in your head you're going, no. You're almost saying, no, Byron, I am happy. I am happy because everyone around me is saying that I should be happy. And based on what's happening
living in the best times ever,
proves that I am happy. I've got the house, I've got the partner, I've
so
got
lucky
the
to be
good
here.
job. But deep down you know you're not. And that is such a friction point where it's like you should be happy, but you're not. Again, Fabio said in his episode, same thing as you. He went into a corporate job, he's sitting on the 60th floor in the Sydney CBD. He said, Fabio, look around you, you're surrounded by smart people, you're getting good money, you're happy. But if you're not happy, listen to yourself.
Yeah, what really is happy anymore? Is happy just who can afford to be happy? That's not in my budget, okay? And also, what does happy even mean? I mean, is happy, you guys can debate that in the comments. Do most people even think about that anymore, or do people just go about their lives and live? I think that's kind of the average adult way now. Now, this last video is kind of more funny. It's definitely more conspiracy theory. This is some younger adults showing their older grandma, the elderly, a video of Grand Theft Auto 5. And it's cars flipping around, and they're telling her it's a newscast, and she 100% believes it. Now, some of the comments under this video were talking about propaganda and things like that, and I think it's definitely a concern that with AI getting as crazy and good as it is, as well as most people, a lot less people than you might hope to think, really know too much about technology. So it's really easy for this to slip through the seams to be pretty heavily used propaganda. So let's check out Grandma freaking out over this GTA crash.
Parkway. On the park. No.
Oh my god.
No.
Now, for somebody who's been watching the news for probably her whole life, does she really think they're allowed to show that type of stuff on TV?
Oh my god.
I'm not saying she's gullible. We're not saying
Oh my god.
Oh. Yeah, but before we go here, I do kind of want to touch on a few different comments that I've been getting and receiving through my last videos. Also, I definitely appreciate all the support, and you guys are going awesome down there. We just started this channel, but I plan to continue going and uploading pretty much every single day, if not multiple times a week. So let's get into a few different comments here and hear some of your guys' thoughts. My roommate said he doesn't want to work full-time because the wages don't match the amount of work. Sounds very relatable. I told him I understand that, but don't complain when I decide to live by myself and you can't afford rent by yourself. Ha! You'll be homeless. or save any kind of money because you choose to work 20 hours a week for $14 an hour. Now, I'm not too sure where you're located, but that sounds about right for the average minimum wage in some high paying cities. I know that it can get as low as $7.25. That's the federal minimum wage currently right now, which like has not even been changed in like a decade. I wonder who's in control of that. Definitely not anybody getting paid that much. But yeah, you should probably get a new roommate. I think that's gonna be your best bet. I'm a young digital nomad living in the Philippines. I am legit terrified to go back to the USA. He's terrified, folks. It's much cheaper to hop around Asia than deal with that BS anymore. I feel like I would be alone, sad, and depressed if I move back. Now, I completely understand your thought process, and many people are moving abroad, or you know, if van life's not an option, they're just straight up fleeing the country. But now, my biggest question is: are you still using U.S. dollars, and is your income in U.S. dollars, and is that why you're able to live so comfortably? Which is kind of ironic how the U.S. dollar means nothing in the U.S., but it means everything outside of in any other part of the world. Yeah, the wage slaves are revolting. Quick, increase the plebs government bennies and toss them a raise. All right, so maybe I'm just too Gen Z. I don't fully understand that, but I do understand the wage slave comment, and many Americans feel as if that is the case. Now, Canada doing 20 to 30% worse. Housing renting is rare here and overpriced due to high demand. I have to cancel my home internet, rely on my cell exclusively, lower the heating to 15 Celsius, and place my water heater on vacation mode and unplug all my appliances, all to afford food next month. It's crazy. Yeah, so a lot of these problems are not just touching the U.S., they're touching other parts of the world. Canada is just right above us. And that's definitely a lot of accommodations that was more so normal for the modern casual life only a few years back, which now is a luxury to have any of those things that he mentioned. So, yeah, seems US is mostly affected. I don't see this problem in Europe. Well, the comment right above that kind of stands to differ that that's not Europe, but I can imagine there's certain places over on that side across the pond that do get these effects. Um, the average American's vacation used to be driving to see the Grand Canyon. That's true. Those road trips, I can't imagine were as expensive. Or now, because of social media and you see everybody else living so better than you, that you need to go spend $5,000 on a Vegas trip or go to Disneyland. Or if you do end up leaving the country, you'll probably spend less leaving the country, actually. Isn't that crazy? I just turned 27, been homeless on a different level for about 10 years. I'm getting an apartment, looking for a car right now. In 5 months, I need an apartment. And he said that he needs another apartment in 5 months because the rent keeps increasing. That's what that comment further says. But that's crazy because when I was living in my apartment, and just like that one guy you said earlier in the video, the inflation, the pay rates are not matching the increased cost of everything, food, housing, and just straight up necessities that people need to live. And yeah, so this guy says communism is bad, but class consciousness is good, and that's what I gotta end this off with. Because to be honest, I think that's really the way we're all gonna get out of this is if we all come together, and not communism, but we all like have this same kind of consciousness that it's not to point fingers, but to figure out a way to actually solve this and create any sort of solution. Now, the people down here, us, we don't have very much say in the matter. The people up there, them, don't really have to deal with any of these problems. So, good luck on any of this getting accomplished. But anyway, if you guys do like commentary like this, you guys do like these types of videos where we talk about discussions, topic-based content, and somewhat conspiracy-related type shit, then I would very much appreciate you guys like, comment, and subscribe, and I will see you guys next time.